Thank you, Secretary DeVos, for joining us today. Secretary DeVos, as you know, I was very clear during your confirmation process that I had serious concerns with your extreme ideological commitment to privatizing our public schools, your extensive financial conflicts of interest, and your lack of understanding of the role of the federal government in protecting the civil rights of students across the country. And I wasn't alone. Millions of parents and teachers across the country stood up, they rallied, they sent letters, they called their senators, so much that the Senate switchboard was overwhelmed and made it very clear that they opposed your vision for our students in our schools and strongly supported public education in America. When it came to a vote, every single Democrat voted no. We were joined by two of my Republican colleagues who are longtime members of this committee and the HELP committee who cited their constituents' strong concerns, and the Vice President had to come and break a tie on a cabinet nomination for the first time in our nation's history. So, Secretary DeVos, I was hoping that you would enter your role as Secretary with an understanding that your extreme anti-public school agenda and your opposition to the federal government playing a role in helping students just didn't have the support of Congress or people across the country. And I was hoping that instead of trying to jam it through anyway, you would work with us and join us at the table and share information, and be a true partner in implementing our nation's education laws, investing in our students and our teachers and our schools, and helping all of our students succeed. But Secretary Vos, I and many others have been extremely disappointed with what we have seen these past few months. You have not backed away from your unpopular and unsupported agenda. You've not made any attempt to compromise or work with us in good faith. You continue to allow potential conflicts of interest and ethical issues to exist in your department, and you have refused to answer basic questions Democrats have asked you. You've backed away from commitments you made in your confirmation hearing, and this budget that from President Trump today that you're here to defend, which has been attacked by Democrats and Republicans and people across the country, I believe is just the latest example. So there are many issues people want answers to, from the people that you've hired, including your senior counselor who came straight from a for-profit college under multiple investigations and who you've now charged with overseeing regulations directly impacting his former employer, to the policies you've implemented or changed, including rescinding guidance protecting transgender students after telling us in your confirmation hearing you believed all students should be able to, quote, feel safe and free of discrimination in our schools, eliminating protections for student loan borrowers, and a lot more. But I'm going to spend most of my time today asking you about your budget proposals because they truly highlight the ways the policies and priorities you and President Trump are pushing would hurt students, would hurt our communities, and represent a clear, broken promise to workers and the middle class. First of all, your anti-public education plans. About a year and a half ago, Congress overwhelmingly passed the Every Student Succeed Acts to finally fix the broken No Child Left Behind law. It wasn't perfect, but it was an important step to provide flexibility for our states and districts while maintaining strong federal guardrails to make sure students could not fall through the cracks no matter where they lived or how they learned or how much money their parents make. But instead of working with us to implement this bipartisan law and build on it, your budget proposal will continue the work you've already started to undercut it dramatically. Instead of seeking common ground in an area that should not be partisan, your budget proposes policies similar to those that were roundly rejected on both sides of the aisle during our ESSA debate, like privatization and portability. In fact, after Republicans spent years lambasting the Department of Education for using federal dollars as a tool for motivating states, and after you promised not to do this in your confirmation hearing when you were asked about it explicitly by Senator Cassidy, this budget does exactly that. It takes hundreds of millions of dollars from low-income school districts and holds it hostage unless states agree to your extreme ideological agenda. So I'm going to be asking you to explain that. And I want further clarity on your very confusing statements regarding whether or not you believe your privatization plans for the EIR program could cause students to lose their federal civil rights protections. I'm also going to be asking you to explain the massive cuts you propose to education investments across the board, impacting students of all ages. The Trump-DeVos education budget would cut investments in our students and schools by $9.2 billion, or 13% from where we are today. I couldn't list them all, but it includes more than $3 billion in cuts to K-12 investments authorized in ESSA, again with one of the very few increases directed towards holding states hostage to your agenda. Among these cuts are $2.1 billion from state grants for effective instruction investments, an entire program eliminated that provides support and professional development for our teachers and school leaders. $1.2 billion from 21st Century Community Learning Centers, completely eliminating investments supporting before and after school programs and extended learning opportunities for almost 2 million students across the country. $190 million, completely eliminating the Striving Readers Comprehensive Literacy Development Investments, which I am particularly passionate and worked with Republicans to strengthen in ESSA. $400 million in student support and academic enrichment grants authorized under Title IV of ESSA to improve student safety and well-rounded education, and a lot more. And it's not just K-12 that's under attack in this budget. This proposal would make higher education less affordable by taking $3.9 billion from the Pell Grant program and freezing the maximum award, eliminating the Supplemental Education Opportunity Grant Program, which provides nearly $1 billion in federal and institutional funds to 1.6 million low-income undergraduates, cutting federal work study in half, increasing student debt by another $143 billion by making many students pay more interest, pay back longer, and eliminating public service loan forgiveness. And this budget cuts investments in students with disabilities, including $113 million to special education grants to our states, pushing more costs to our states and local communities. $27.5 million for the Supported Employment State Grants, which helps people with the most significant disabilities achieve competitive integrated employment, an investment, by the way, that we included in our bipartisan WIOA bill and which is not being done through any other programs. And finally, this budget even eliminates all support for Special Olympics programs in our schools. So I'll be asking about a lot of these. I know many of my colleagues will, but this budget, I believe, would be devastating for our students and take away opportunities for so many families in this country. So I hope that after hearing from a lot of parents across the country and lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, you'll reconsider this approach and come back to us with a budget that actually works for our students and reflects our values and our priorities as a country. Thank you.